자, 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maria Alejandra Guzman, and I am here representing the Center for Advanced Hindsight at Duke University. And I am very grateful for the opportunity to be here. And I would like to start my presentation taking it off from the last question from the previous panel. So the last question was about how can we use all this information that we have about how people make decisions and actually apply it to promote financial health. And even though this is a very broad yet very important question, it helps a very good introduction into what we do at the Center for Advanced Hindsight. So we are a research lab that works to make people happier, healthier, and wealthier with behavioral science. We have different areas of research. I am part of the Common Sense Lab, which specializes in financial decision making. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the Common Sense Lab towards the end of my presentation, so you have a better understanding of the examples of work that we do there. But the main takeaway from my presentation, the main thing that I would like you to take with you today at the end, is that the way that we design financial products and services, meaning the way that people interact with products and services in the financial world, heavily influences their decisions, meaning that it influences their financial health. So we have to be very careful and very sensitive to the way that we present choices, the way that we design products and services for people. So Professor Ju did a great job outlining the basis, the theory behind the work that we do. So the traditional model of economics, which also is the one that is used to design most products and services in the financial world, departs from the idea of this rational actor. This rational actor accumulates information, accounts for probabilities, and fulfills a model in which the outcome is a maximization of utility and an optimization of decisions. However, when we look at the real world, things don't work like that. If this was the case, all we needed to do to promote behavior change was to provide people with information. And we all know that that is not the case. So information alone does not lead to behavior change. Because in practice, we don't save enough money. There's a reason why we're here discussing financial health today. We take on too much debt, we overeat, and we take a series of decisions that don't lead to a necessarily good outcome. So what actually influences behavior? What are the key things that lead people to behave one way or the other? And what we have learned from behavioral science is that the environment heavily influences the ultimate decisions that people make. And what do we mean by environment? We mean choice structure, so the ways that choices are presented to people. We mean timing. When do people make the decisions and what is going on at the time of the decision-making process? And society. What is expected from us to do and what are other people doing as well? And we have taken the lessons from behavioral science that have been accumulated over the past few decades and have kind of translated it into an analogy of a rocket ship. So if we were to build a rocket ship towards financial health, what are the things that we want to be part of that rocket ship? So the first set of principles that we have identified is that we want very low friction in our rocket ship. So we want the good decisions to be easy decisions to be made. And what exactly are friction costs? So we know from behavioral science that people are deterred for even the smallest bumps in the road. Even the smallest things in the process of making a decision can stop people from completing a behavior. And when you translate that into the financial world, it gets very complicated. Like think about the number of steps that you need to take in order to make additional contributions to your retirement savings, for example. And what we mean by friction are every form, every click, every field, every signature, every call, and every step that somebody has to make that is a choice, and therefore is an opportunity for people not to complete a process. One example that we like to use is a case study from a web development firm. This web development firm had a website that required people to fill a set of information that contained 11 fields: name, email, zip code, and the way that people got to that website. And it had a very low completion rate. So among people who started completing the form, only 5% of them actually submitted it. And in an experiment, they reduced the form to 4 fields, so the actual 4 fields that they actually needed of the information that they needed to collect. And they found a 160% increase in submission of the form, simply by taking fields that were not needed. And this leads to the first rule of how to make better financial products and services, which is making things easy. How many of you are familiar with this graph? Not many. OK. So the countries that are, this is a graph that represents the percentage of people in each of these countries that are signed up to be organ donors. In the countries with the blue bars, we see very high donation rates, sign up for donation rates. And the countries on the left have very low donation rates. So a group of researchers from the US departed from a study that was done in the US that found out that 85% of Americans were had positive relations or a positive attitude towards organ donation. However, only 20% of them were actual organ donors. And they looked at the case of some European countries to kind of understand what was going on behind these phenomena that they were observing in the US. So one of the main ideas that come when you look at this graph might be, well, these countries might be providing a lot of information about what happens when you donate your organs and how beneficial it is and how many thousands of lives can be saved. However, the Netherlands did a campaign a little before this study was done, and they mailed every single household in the country with a packet of information around the benefits of organ donations, and they only achieved a 27% sign-up rate for donations. What was actually different between these two sets of countries was the forms. So in the first set of countries, the form looked like this. So they asked people, check this box if you want to participate in the organ donation program. What did people do? They didn't do anything, so they didn't become organ donors. In the second set of countries, so the countries in the blue bars, they asked people to check that box if they did not want to become organ donors. What did people do? Again, people didn't do anything, but in this case, over 95% of people ended up being organ donors, therefore saving thousands of lives in their countries. And this is what we have identified in behavioral science as default bias. So people tend to pick the choice that is pre-selected for them. And defaults work in a variety of ways. One is because it makes the decision easier, and the other way is because it suggests what is expected from us to do, or what are other people doing in our surroundings. The other set of rules that we have identified is making the decision active. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this company in the US called Express Scripts. Express Scripts, among other things, they mail to people's houses people who are chronically ill. They received on the mail their medications every 90 days. So a lot of people that use Express Scripts are signed up as interested in branded medications. Express Scripts was interested in having people switch from branded medication to generic medication. This because generic medication was cheaper for the patient, was cheaper for Express Scripts, and was also cheaper for the employer of the patient as well. And the first idea that they had was mail everybody and tell them that generic was cheaper and that they should switch. What happened? Nobody changed. Everybody remained using branded medication, which was more expensive. In another set of ideas that came up, they told people that generic medication was going to be free. So if they switched, they were going to have a zero copay, and they would receive the medication for free for the entirety of their program. How many people switched? Around 10%. Finally, in a third version of this, they asked people to mail back a form if they wanted to continue receiving medication. And when they did, they had to pick if they wanted generic or branded. So they asked people for an active choice of whether they wanted generic or branded medication, and added the condition that they had to mail that back in order to continue to remain in the program. And what happened was that 70% of people switched to generic medication. So a common hypothesis behind these kinds of intentions to switch is that maybe people don't want generic medications at all, but actually when people were asked to pick between the two, they the majority of them chose to switch to branded medication. And this is what we called active choice. So people tend to make choices that better reflect their preferences when they're asked actively to do so. If not, people remain in the same path that they are. The other rule that we have identified to make better products and services is making things simple. So we tend to think that when it comes to choice, the more the better. So the more options that we have, the happier we'll be, and the better outcomes we will observe. Turns out that this is not necessarily the case. So a group of researchers went to a grocery store in San Francisco. This store is famous for their wide variety of products. So they offer hundreds of versions of jams. And they particularly picked a brand of jam that had many different flavors. And they set up 2 stands on different days. So the first stand had six selections of jam. They were the same brand, just different flavors. The second set was 24 selection of jams. Again, the same brand as the previous stand. They also gave people who approached the stand a $1 off coupon. So people can get a $1 discount for any purchase that they made from either of the stands. And what happened was the following. So the people who approached the table with the 6 jams, 30% of them bought any jam. And only 3% of people who approached the table with more options actually purchased jam. The other outcome of this was that people were actually more attracted to come to the table with more jams. However, when it came to actually making a decision, a purchase decision, people were paralyzed by the number of options and therefore didn't purchase anything at all. And this is what we call in behavioral science decision paralysis. So when we are confronted to many options, we tend to make the easiest choice, which is sometimes making no choice at all. And try to translate that into a world that is growing in terms of the number of products and services, especially online products and services that we have at our disposal right now. So the key takeaways from this first part of my presentation are the following. So first, we need to be very mindful of which default we're creating for people, and making sure that the default that we're creating is the right one and is the one that leads to better financial health. The second one is that sometimes we need to require active choice, because people won't switch from a less beneficial product to a more beneficial product only by providing information or only by making it free, as we saw in the example. And finally, more choice is not necessarily better for making decisions, so reducing options and complexity tends to be also a good practice. The second part of the rocket ship that I was talking about earlier is adding fuel. So we want to make sure that the things that we have as part of our designs, like benefits or incentives, are as potent and effective as possible. And we have also identified a couple of rules to make this happen. And I'm going to share a couple of examples of projects that we've done in the financial world, most of them based in the US, but easily translatable to other contexts as well. So this is an example that we did with the Latino Community Credit Union, which is a credit union in North Carolina. And we were working with the Latino Community Credit Union to increase the number of members of the credit union who save. And one of the paths to increasing savings that we identified was the moment that people sign up for a car loan. So in conversations with the Latino Community Credit Union, we got them to create this version of the car loan in which when people got approved for their car loan, they would be defaulted into a round-up savings program, meaning that this is an example of a person who was going to pay $217 monthly for their car payment and was being defaulted into paying $250. That difference was going to go into their savings account. The savings account was easily accessible at any time, and the funds, like the user could access those funds very, very easily. So just by asking people, by defaulting people into this option, we got 25% of car loan users to take up this automatic savings program. We tried another version of it, which took advantage of this concept of loss aversion that Professor Ju was talking about earlier, in which in parallel with the same, it was the same program, in parallel with the information about how much they were going to pay, we highlighted how much they were going to lose or how much they wouldn't have in savings if they opted out of the program. And what we found was that 35% of people decided not to opt out, meaning that they remained in the program. So just within the Latino Community Credit Union, we identified 2,000 more savers who, on average, were saving $19 per month with this program. And this is based on the concept of loss aversion, meaning that we work harder, sacrifice more, and put more effort to avoid losses than to have gains, even though those things can be of the same value. And the final lesson that I want to share with you here is making a decision timely. So this is an example that we did in the United States with a company, fintech called Digit. Digit automates savings and basically takes small parts of the amounts that people have in their checking accounts, meaning the accounts that are linked to debit cards in the US, and transfer them to savings accounts. And the main way that Digit communicates with its users is through SMS text messaging. What we did in the US was that, just a little bit of background around this, every year, around 80% of Americans get a tax refund, meaning that between the months of February or April, people receive this tax refund from the federal government, which is perceived as an extra income. Therefore, it's a good opportunity to save. So what we did with Digit was we communicated with their users and divided it into two groups. The first group received this message. So we messaged Tom and said, "Hi, Tom, you just got your tax refund. What percentage of it would you like to save?" And the person would text back and say what percentage they wanted to be moved into their savings account. The second version, we texted people who hadn't received a tax refund yet. And we told them, "Hi, Tom, you might get a tax refund. If you do, what percent would you like to save?" So this was before people had the money in their hands. What we found was this. So when we asked people after they had the money in their hands, so when they had the temptation to spend it, on average, people responded that they wanted to save 10%. When we asked people before they got the tax refund, meaning that they didn't have the money yet to spend it, we got a response of 15% on average that people wanted to save. And taking the people who did not save at all, so only looking at people who decided to save some of their tax refund, about 17% on average, people decided to save for the people who received the text message after having the tax refund, and 20% was for people who received the text before getting the tax refund. And this is based on the concept of pre-commitment. So people tend to follow through on their goals if they create roadblocks that prevent them from making the wrong decision and avoiding temptation before it comes. And the final rule that I want to share with you is to think broader than financial incentives. So we tend to think that providing monetary incentive is the way to go, or it's the easiest way to make people behave in certain ways. This is an example of a project that we did in Kenya. So in Kenya, around 20% of people have a bank account. However, there is a service that it's called M-Pesa that is very present, and it's a mobile wallet, and its use is very widespread in Kenya. One of the products associated with M-Pesa is a pension account called Mbao. This account often offers the possibility of people saving throughout the year, and even though it doesn't generate an interest rate, if people don't withdraw any money, at the end of the year, they get the returns that the pension fund has generated. And with the intention of having more people save into their pension fund, we sent the people a couple of messages and played around with this idea of financial incentives. So in the first version of it, we did what we call post-match, meaning that we said people, if you save at least 100 shillings this week, we're going to give you 20. If you don't save, you're not going to receive any extra money. That was the first version of it. The second version of it was a pre-match, meaning that we said to people, we have already put 20 shillings into your account. If you save 100 this week, you get to keep it. If you don't, we will take it back. So in terms of amounts, these two were equivalent. The timing was what was different. A third version of it was a message from the kids. So, hi, Mom. Please remember to save for your future. It's very important, from your daughter. And finally, we had another version of it, which was a gold coin. It wasn't actual gold. It was just a golden coin that was meant to represent as if it was real, but of course it wasn't. And basically, we told people, you saved with your Mbao account this month. Since you already did it, please go ahead and take your coin and scratch a number from your coin. And the coin was this one. So like very small, simple, and it didn't have a market value, so they couldn't do anything with this outside of the program. So just a recap about the options. So we had the kids messaging the parents. We had a post-match, pre-match, and we had the gold coin. And what we found was this. So this is the average savings. This is in Kenyan shillings that people had in their accounts at the end of the program. By far, the most successful intervention was the coin that had no market value, that had no financial incentive attached to it. So this leads us to think about broader than financial incentives. What are other things that you can do to get people to behave in certain ways and to make the right financial decisions? And the principle behind this is called in behavioral science tangibility and concreteness. So we are a lot more motivated by things that we can touch and we can feel, even though they're not necessarily translate into a financial value or incentive. So the final takeaways from the second part of my presentation are first, to reframe benefits to maximize the appeal. So take things that are already existing and renaming, reward them, use loss aversion concept in order to make them more appealing. The second one is remind the benefits at the right time. And the right time is the moment where people are making the decision, or before people have the temptation not to complete the correct behavior. And finally, benefits don't have to be financial. So with this, I want to tell you a little bit more about what we do at the Common Sense Lab, now that you've had an overview of a couple of examples. So we were established in 2015 with the support of MetLife Foundation, and we operate within Duke University. And what we do is that we build solutions that aim to improve the financial health of individuals of low to moderate income in the United States and abroad as well. We partner with financial organizations like Digit, the fintech that I mentioned earlier, the Latino Community Credit Union, and over 30 organizations in the US to redesign or rethink about the way that they present their products and services to their users in ways that can lead to people make better financial decisions aligned to these 5 goals. which are increasing short and long-term savings, decreasing expenses, improving cash flow, managing debt, and increasing earnings. So what we do and what we hope to transmit today to you is that there are many ways in that we can take advantage of the learnings from behavioral science in order to improve the way that people interact with financial products and services. We hope that these things that we have done in the US and that are now expanding to other countries can resonate with the work that you all are doing here, and that can lead your users, your customers, to achieving greater financial health. So thank you so much, and I look forward to the question sessions.
예, 구즈만 선연구원 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 저도 계속 메모를 좀 하면서 들었는데요. 이게 행동과학을 정말 잘 활용하면은 여러 가지로 같은 팩트라도 전달하는데 효과가 굉장히 좀 많이 다르겠구나 하는 생각이 좀 문득 들었습니다. 예를 들어서 우리 조산모사 얘기도 많이 아시잖아요. 아침에 3개 주니까 굉장히 원숭이가 화를 내고, 아침에 4개를 주고 저녁에 3개 주겠다니까 굉장히 좋아하고, 뭐 이런 부분들. 같은 어떤 팩트, 같은 어떤 정보라도 어떻게 전달하느냐에 따라서 그 효과는 상당히 차이가 날 수 있다는 걸 좀 구즈만 연구원의 강연 내용을 통해서 좀 들을 수 있었습니다. 여기서 이제 Q&A 시간을 좀 가져볼까 합니다. 여러 가지 내용들을 많이 해주셨는데, 이 구즈만 연구원의 연구 내용들이 실질적으로, 그러니까 행동과학을 통한 이 파이낸셜 헬스와의 연관고리가 어떻게 또 실제 생활에서 활용되는지 조금 더 얘기를 깊게 들어보기 위해서요, 우리 구즈만 연구원을 좀 자리로 모시고 또 원활한 커뮤니케이션을 위해서 매트라이프 재단의 황혜경 국장이 모셔서 Q&A 시간을 좀 가져보도록 하겠습니다. 두 분 앞으로 좀 나오시겠습니까? Please come on. 자, 박수로 두 분 말씀을 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 질문 있는 분들은 계속해서 그 URL을 통해서 올리시면은,
네, 다시 자리에 앉겠습니다. 근데 지금 질문이 많이 안 올라오고 있는데요. 이유를 여쭤봐도 될까요, 여러분? 안 그러면 지금 좀 너무 피곤하셔서 조금 내 머리가 조금 쉬어야 되겠다고 지금 생각을 하실 수도 있어서 잠시만 제가 좀 제 핸드폰을 좀 켜도록 하겠습니다. 네, 지금 질문이 있는데 그 전 세션에서 우리 주소연 교수님이 말씀해 주셨던 그 개념들과 다 연결고리를 가져가고 있을 겁니다. 행동과학이라고 했지만 행동재무학, 행동경제학 이런 것들의 모든 개념, 그래서 저희가 행동을 하는 데 있어서 아까 그 넛지라는 거를 말씀해 주셨잖아요. 근데 그 넛지라는 게 개념 자체가 생각해 보면 그 큰 엄마 코끼리가 아기 코끼리를 조금씩 이렇게 뒤에서 해주면서 결국은 그 아기 코끼리가 스스로 갈 수 있도록 그거를 이제 습관을 만들어주고 결국에는 행동으로 연결해준다. 그 개념이 결국은 이제 행동과학인 거고요. 그래서 이제 뭐를 하는 데 있어서 잠깐만 이렇게 팔꿈치만 조금 쳐줘도 그것들이 바로 이렇게 내가 행동으로 가야지 이것들을 좀 더 바른 방법으로 내가 할 수 있거나 해결을 할 수 있구나라는 게 어떻게 보면은 이 행동과학이라는 거를 그냥 쉽게 제 나름대로 한번 해석을 해봤습니다. 여러분들도 아마 이제 이런 것들을 들으시면서 계속 이제 스스로 이렇게 한번 정리를 해보시면 어떨까 싶었는데요. 예, 지금 질문들이 좀 올라오고 있어서 먼저 지금 질문 중에 잠시만요. 제가 이거를 지금 정렬을 좀 바꿔보겠습니다. 예, 공감 정렬로 해서요. 가장 지금 좋아요를 많이 받은 절대 소득이 낮은 취약계층의 합리적인 소비 습관 개선을 위한 효과적인 방안은 무엇이 있는지 궁금합니다. Did you all get that? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to answer that question with an example of some work that we did with an organization called Propel, which is also a fintech that operates in the US. So Propel manages the income that people get from the government. Is a non-conditional transfer that the U.S. federal government provides to people who meet certain criteria, all of them low to moderate income people. So among these population, what has been observed is that the money that they get every month, they tend to spend it in its entirety in the first few days, meaning that by the end of the month, they struggle to buy basic things like food, for example. And in an effort to make this cash flow management a little bit better for this group, we partnered with Propel. And what we did was that in the platform where people can see the balance that they have available, we had two options. The classic option, which is people were able to look at their monthly balance, everything, the entire money available for the rest of the month. And in the second version, we suggested a weekly budget. So people could only see the budget that we were suggesting, which was a fourth of the total amount of the balance. And what we found out was that people who were able to see only the weekly balance, the weekly budget, spread more their income from the transfer from the government across the month. So they were able to spread that income for more days throughout the month. So this is an example of a way that we have done to help people manage better their income, especially this very low income population.
바로 이어서 그래서 어느 분이 이 질문을 하셨는데요. 행동 경제학이 실제로 한국의 금융 분야에 사용된 예를 아신다면 소개 부탁드립니다. 근데 이게 아직 한국의 사례를 좀 얘기해 주실 수 있을지 한번 좀 우선 여쭤보도록 하겠습니다.
I'm not aware of it. The first work that I heard was from Professor Chu, which I think is doing fantastic work here, and I think it's an area of great opportunity. And hopefully, this forum is the beginning of your interest on working in including behavioral science in the design of financial products and services here in two areas. One, expanding the research, like Professor Chu is doing, and also on the other side, translating that research into actionable projects with financial services providers here.
제가 한 가지 추가적으로 말씀드리면 지금 이제 커먼센스 랩이 이쪽 분야에서 이제 연구를 시작한 게 주로 미국 내에서만 이 연구를 갖고 파이낸셜 헬스 사례에 적용을 해왔는데요. 이번 연도부터 이거를 좀 글로벌 시장으로 갖고 나왔습니다. 그래서 아까 소개를 좀 안 드리는 것 같은데 이번 연도부터 이 컨셉을 가지고 지금 터키하고 제가 알기로는 which country was it?
Yes, Turkey, China, and Mexico as well.
멕시코하고 이제 중국에서 이 개념들을 지금 좀 글로벌 시장에서 하고 있는데요. 이제 제가 이 개념을 들었을 때 한국에서도 이 행동 과학을 갖고 이제 파이낸셜 헬스 사례를 적용할 수 있는 부분들이 있을 거라고 저도 좀 생각이 드는 게 지금 하고 있는 사례들이 이게 B2C의 개념보다는 B2B의 개념으로서 이 분야에서 이제 상품이나 서비스를 제공하고 있는 조직의 솔루션을 사실상 바꾸는 작업을 하고 있는 거거든요. 그래서 그 기관들이 어디가 될 수 있냐면 뭐 비영리 기관이 될 수도 있고요. 소셜 벤처, 사회적 기업, 혹은 일반 은행들까지도 이런 프로세스에 의해서 어떤 행동 등을 바꿔주면은 어떤 프로세스를 어떻게 바꿔주면은 행동으로까지 옮겨줄 수 있느냐를 지금 사실상 해외 시장에서 좀 하고 있어서 저는 개인적으로 그걸 좀 한국 시장에 저희 매트라이프 재단이 한번 갖고 와볼 수 있지 않을까를 좀 기대를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 그런 것들이 한국에 적용이 된다면 다음번에 저희가 좀 사례로 말씀을 드릴 수 있을 거라고 좀 생각을 합니다. 다음 질문을 좀 보도록 하겠습니다. 지금 주신 게 전에 그 주세용 교수님께서 주신 내용하고 좀 연계성이 있는 것 같은데요. 과속 10만 원, 주차 단속 5만 원과 과속 15만 원의 과태료를 받았다고 한다면 과속 10만 원, 주차 단속 5만 원이 기분이 더 나쁩니다. 손해 보는 것 같고요. 이런 심리를 행동 과학으로 설명이 가능할까요? 이 질문인데요. 네. 좀 제가 들어 조금 헷갈려서 지금 좀 트랜스레이션이 조금 시간이 걸리는 것 같습니다.
Yeah, I'll do my best to respond to the question, but maybe Professor Ju can help us later as well. So this is related to the concept of a loss aversion. So a concept that has been proven over and over again in lab settings, but also in field experiments, that the one that I presented earlier, is this concept that people tend to value more, or like feel more the losses than the gains, even though those can be equivalent in value. So one of the ways, and I want to rescue one of the examples that I mentioned earlier, that we can rescue this, was the project that we did with the Latino Community Credit Union, in which we highlighted the loss part of not having savings, the framing not as a gain, as a future price to yourself, but more as something that you're giving up not having. And this tends to be a more effective way of leading people to enroll in the kinds of products and services that, that we designed, that, for example, the Roundup savings program.
네, 그러면은 다음 질문으로 저희가 좀 진행을 해보면은요. 재무조정제도, 개인회생, 워크아웃 등으로 변제 부담을 낮춰 주었음에도 불구하고 변제를 끝까지 하는 비중이 굉장히 낮습니다. 조정된 금액을 성실히 납부할 수 있는 넛지 방안에는 무엇이 있을까요? 아무래도 이 문제를 지금 해결하고자 하시는 조직에서, 기관에서 주신 질문인 것 같습니다.
Yeah, so we have done a couple of projects in the area of helping people move from less beneficial debt products to more beneficial debt products. And one concept that is often used is telling people about the interest rate. And what we have found out is that telling people about the interest rate is not an effective way of helping them move for better debt alternative products. A project that we recently did was we tested how effective it would be to give people the cost of a high interest loan in terms of the daily cost versus the lump sum cost at the end of their loan. And what we found out was that beyond, even more than interest rate and even more than daily cost, providing people with a large amount of money that it would cost them to get enrolled in a very high interest debt program was very effective. To help them move towards better alternatives. So highlighting the lump sum costs that they would face at the end, like by the end of the payment program.
계속 질문이 좀 올라오고 있어서 그다음에 시간이 저희가 지금 많이 남지 않아서요. 질문으로 계속 좀 가도록 하겠습니다. 행동 경제학이 이론적으로 사용되면 좋지만 반대로 사용될 수 있다고 생각합니다. 예를 들면 지나치게 상업적인 목적으로 치우친 이제 프레이밍으로 좋은 면만 강조하는 광고나 마케팅 사례 등이 있을 수 있는데요. 이를 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that the value in the work that we're doing is that by the fact that we get the support from MetLife Foundation, this knowledge around behavioral science can reach the organizations that are doing good work. This knowledge is already built into the organizations that might not have the best interest in their hearts. So big corporate groups already have like behavioral scientists in their teams. Marketing firms have behavioral scientists in their teams. But this knowledge is not accessible for organizations that are providing services to low to moderate income people, because consulting in this area would be very costly for them. So yes, behavioral science can be used for bad, and yes, it's being used for bad. But our take on it is that at least the work that we're doing is trying to get this knowledge out to everyone, not only to get it focused on the people who can highly profit at the cost of low income people.
뭐 저도 같은 생각을 늘 하고 있었는데요. 이게 저희가 결국은 이거를 이제 제공받는 소비자나 뭐 제공받는 수혜자들한테 어떠한 이제 최고의 베네핏을 주기 위해서라면 이게 어떤 사회적 가치를 주든 이제 마케팅 가치를 주든 그 분야에서 이거에 대한 전문성을 잘 활용을 하면 될 것 같다라는 생각을 저도 좀 하고 있었는데요. 네, 다음 질문을 좀 하도록 하겠습니다. 지금 저희가 한 2분 정도 남아서요. 마지막 질문을 좀 하고자 하는데요. 제가 이거를 그냥 하도록 하겠습니다. Thanks so much라고 누가 쓰시고요. 그 다음에 행동 경제학이 시대적 트렌드와 각 문화권의 가치관 그리고 본인의 성장, 환경 및 현재 처한 상황에 따라 달라질 수 있다고 생각하는데 행동 경제학에 변하지 않는 전체의 어떠한 것이 있을까요? 여기서 얘기하는 행동 경제가 아무래도 행동 과학을 계속 얘기하고 계신 걸로 생각이 듭니다.
That's a very good question. And actually, at the lab, we have done more lab-based research, meaning in a controlled environment, in many areas. Some of them include dishonesty, financial decision-making, rituals, and these kinds of research has been taken to many different countries in order to find the answer to the question that you're asking today. And what have consistently found is that we behave about the same way everywhere. So the principles of loss aversion apply across the globe. The principle of tangibility and concreteness also apply across the globe. And of course, there are specifics in the wording, in the shape that we represent. Maybe the gold coin might not be very effective way of doing a program here in Korea, but it was in Kenya. But maybe there is something else in Korea that can be a tangible thing that can have similar impact. But the concept itself applies everywhere. And that's what we have consistently found doing research internationally.
저희가 Q&A를 한 20분 정도 진행을 해서요. 오늘 이걸로 지금 마지막 질문으로 저희가 좀 마무리를 하려고 합니다. 근데 아까 전에 세션에서 우리 김민정 대표님이 그 말씀을 하시더라고요. 사람이 중요하다. 그러니까 저희가 결국은 어떠한 프로세스나 이런 것들을 다 얘기를 하고 결국은 얘기하는 것들이 습관과 행동을 바꿔야 된다. 그렇지만 그 끝에는 결국 사람이 있다라는 건데요. 그런 부분들을 이제 행동 과학 측면에서 접근을 해서 결국은 이 베네핏을 주고자 하는 부분이 저희가 이제 서빙하고 있는 소비자가 되든 수혜자가 되든 그런 부분들인 것 같습니다. 그래서 좀 그렇게 이번 세션을 마무리하도록 하고요. 오늘 발표와 Q&A에 함께 수고해 주신 우리 마리엘리 한주라 구스만 연구원님께 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.